everybody. This talk is about joy, which we just had a lot of, resilience, and productivity, and where they come from. But I'm not going to give you any advice. There are no instructions to follow. You were all born into a human mind, and guess what? It did not come with an owner's manual. And I've been on a search to find one since I was a kid. I studied psychology and Eastern philosophy for 23 years, and I could not say I had found what I was looking for. With all my knowledge and 12 years of clinical experience, my spirits were low, and I wasn't getting the kind of results I had hoped for with my clients. And then a friend of mine took me to a workshop based on the simple and profound insights of a man named Sydney Banks. And thinking I knew everything about psychology, I thought that what they were saying was pretty simplistic. But what they were pointing to struck me like a ton of bricks on the way to the airport, on the way home. And I realized there was a much simpler way of looking at the mind, which was about to change me and the way I worked with my clients. I soon found myself enjoying life a lot more and feeling much more balanced. My clients responded really quickly, and this was a real surprise to me. And that was 25 years ago. My colleagues and I now bring this understanding into companies around the world to help them achieve remarkable results. I saw that the mind is beautifully designed to be healthy and productive. And that when you realize how it works, you find yourself living with more presence and intelligence. Just as knowing how your phone and the apps work gives you more control and versatility, understanding how your mind works does the same and affords you a much richer experience of life. Now, for those of you who are doing well psychologically, you'll take all of this for granted. But for the times when you're not at your best, or if you're stressed or struggling, this knowledge is crucial. Don't underestimate the value of what I'm going to be sharing. The advantages are huge, with more knowledge and awareness of your inherent design. Okay, so let's do a thought experiment. Think of a time when you were in the zone, or you were particularly peaceful. Remember the time, remember what was going on, and remember how you felt. Okay, now what qualities were present in you at the time? We've asked that question to thousands of people, and the list they come up with is pretty consistent. Clarity, presence, perspective, insight, grace, feeling connected. You can see the rest. Okay. And then we asked people, well, where do these qualities come from? Do you do them? Do you do presence? Do you do perspective? Do you do feeling connected? Or do they just show up? And people usually say, no, they naturally occur, they just kind of happen. Many attribute these qualities to their circumstances, like being on vacation or doing something they really love to do. Yet many describe times when they're under intense pressure, like in business, or in sports, or in crisis. Like the time my wife broke her leg on the top of a mountain, and it took 16 people to climb the mountain to carry her down. We all came together and got her down with amazing ease and grace. Reflect for a moment on why these qualities consistently show up across all peoples. Consider that there's an intelligence built into the mind that generates them. It's part of your beautiful design. It's like a psychological immune system, analogous to the intelligence in your body that keeps it healthy and running without you having to pay attention to it. Everybody make a fist and hold it really tight. Okay, what happens? The blood flow gets blocked, your muscles get tired, and your hand starts to hurt. Okay, now let go. What happens next? The blood flow resumes, muscles relax, your hand goes back to its natural state, and you can do anything you want with it. Well, the mind is designed to work in the same way. You can see this really easily in young kids. This is my granddaughter, Gracie. Okay? She can be really, really upset with her older brother, and they'll be rolling on the floor laughing 2 minutes later. How is it that we naturally come to our senses when our mind settles down and we effortlessly engage in the moment with whatever is going on? The intelligence that makes all this possible is always running in the background. It's what effortlessly flows through us when we're at our best. Who wouldn't want more of this? As a psychologist, I was always trained to see what goes wrong with people's minds, or what deficiencies or strengths they need to work on. Nowhere in my training was it mentioned that mental health is a built-in function of the mind and not something to be learned. We never looked at how elegantly and brilliantly all of your minds are designed to function. I now see how crucial it is for people to be consciously aware of how it works, to have healthy relationships and productive lives. As I was beginning to see the simpler way of looking at the mind, I also began to look at the nature of thought. And I realized that an explanation of how thought actually works never showed up anywhere in my training. I now see thought as a living function. I began to see that thinking crafts my feeling and my experience of life every moment. This was a profound shift in my orientation. I began to see myself and others not as selves to be improved, but as living processes with a core of brilliance and capability. And that it's only our thinking that keeps us in harmony with that brilliance or gets in the way of it. Let me illustrate this in the following way. There are 3 ways to look at our mental functioning. Most psychological observations focus on what we experience, on what we think, feel, and do. When looking at content, we focus on the specifics of what's on people's minds. Our thoughts, our concerns, our desires, our unconscious motivations, etc. Or we can look at our programming, or why we think what we think and do what we do. Childhood, education, culture, brain functioning, lots of other factors all affect the specifics of our unique habits and perspectives. What my colleagues and I now look at are the universal dynamics operating behind the scenes all the time. These are the invisible mechanics that are responsible for how we all perceive reality in the moment. And they have a powerful effect on the flow of our natural design. Here's a metaphor for these invisible mechanics. Your mind functions like a movie projector. Your thoughts are like the film going through. And your consciousness is like the light illuminating those thoughts. Your mind then adds a sense of realness to the picture. This is how your mind is generating your personal movie of life, moment to moment, whether it's pleasant or bothered or something else. This is how it actually works in the movies. Pictures start flashing on the screen, the soundtrack comes on, and all of a sudden you're flying in outer space being shot at by aliens. Or you're falling in love with that beautiful person on the screen. It's just that your mind's doing this all the time with your thoughts, whether you realize it or not. How many of you are noticing what it feels like to have your body sitting in the chair? Well, I bet you are now that you're thinking about it. Or seeing the color of the shirt. If you've been looking in this direction, you might register on the color, but whenever you think about it, you are. If not, you won't. The same holds true in a committed relationship. Anybody in a committed relationship? All right. Well, in a good mood, your partner looks great. Right? In a bad mood, you wonder how you got into this whole mess. Same person, different thoughts. Okay? In other words, we're experiencing life on the inside as we see it through our thoughts. We feel our thoughts. not the external factors in life. And when we're not caught up in thought, our mind naturally settles down. We come to our senses with simple presence and clarity. The living intelligence in us provides all the thinking we need to have perspective and common sense and insight and so on. And if you stay settled, you have an internal sense of well-being. And when your mind is particularly quiet, the spiritual qualities in life come through us and we can feel and embody them, like love or gratitude, or feeling connected to life, or feeling connected to each other. It all happens naturally and effortlessly. It's not something that you do. You don't have to manage this. This is the beautiful design of your mind. Its workings are subtle and powerful and invisible. That your mind works this way is the most ordinary thing in the world. Knowing that it works this way is crucial if you want to be at your best more of the time and have more joy and success. Now, if you don't know that it works this way, you'll think that your reality is the only one that exists and that your thinking has nothing to do with it. You'll blame the world for your feelings and your experiences, and you'll spend endless amounts of time and energy trying to get the world to work out right so that you can relax and feel better. Most people's lives are completely consumed to doing that until we realize that our essential well-being is somehow built into us. Before I understood this, I used to be a world-class worrier. I could worry about anything. I was anxious all the time. And every once in a while, I would stop worrying, and I would feel okay. And then I would worry there's something I should be worried about. And you know how easy it is to find something to worry about when you look. Well, when I started to realize that my worried feelings were really coming from my mind, they lost their edge and became a lot easier to let go of. And at some point, I gave up worrying as a lifestyle. And my life has been quite different ever since, except, of course, in preparing for this TED Talk. The same kind of shifts can happen for you. People always ask us, well, how do you do this? And we always say, there are no techniques. What matters is that you realize how your mind works. When you see it operating in real time, your common sense will guide you. It's like our understanding of germs that help us with our personal hygiene. Hence, we wash our hands, keep our dishes clean, and keep our food fresh. When it comes to the mind, we tend to grind away on our thinking all the time. And it's become normal to live in the stress and anxiety that comes with all that grinding. Your beautiful mind works much more intelligently when it's not so stressed. On top of the mountain, it was really great to know where our worries and fears were coming from, which was our own thinking. It took hours for the team to come together to help carry my wife down. Even with an impending thunderstorm, we stayed relaxed and positive. I'm sure that on the way down, our good spirits helped everybody else stay at their best. My colleagues and I now work with teams of engineers and scientists and business leaders facing really complex issues. We help them see these simple and profound facts about the mind, and they settle down and begin to look for what they don't yet see. The insights start to flow, and it's amazing to see the range of things they can solve in a relatively short period of time, like how to cut their product's time to market in half, or double their bottom line in the next 12 months. They also start to see their coworkers and family members with more understanding. They see them as thinkers, sometimes caught up and sometimes not. And they find themselves being at their best more of the time and helping others be at their best more of the time. If you start to realize that you live in a world of your own thinking and that your mind has all the intelligence built into it that you need, you'll find yourself being at your best more of the time as well. You'll start noticing when you're reacting to the things that it's coming from your thoughts, and you'll settle down more quickly. You'll start to attribute your well-being and your clarity to to your own natural inner process from the inside out. This is a powerful shift. You'll find yourself having more joy, being productive more of the time, and more resilience to whatever goes on, such as this. I wish I'd known this when I was a kid. My life would have been really different. I know this understanding can have a significant impact on humanity. It's estimated that 37% of people will have a significant problem with depression in their lifetimes, or 33% will have a similar problem with anxiety. More than 8% of youth are now diagnosed with severe depression in this country. That's 1 in 12. You probably know some. Suicide is now the second leading cause of death worldwide for 15 to 29-year-olds. That's tragic. Depression alone costs our economy over $210 billion a year. And if you own a company or run a team of people, you've probably seen the effect of this in your business. This is what I'd recommend for you. Make this visible to yourself. Start noticing that you live in a world of your own thinking, and it subtly and powerfully creates your personal movie of life every moment. Appreciate the deep intelligence built into your human mind, into your human design, that's working for you there all the time. We all function brilliantly from the inside out. We just have to look. And knowing how it works will keep you from getting in your own way. Thank you.